Right now, my job, my privilege is to introduce our panel. Starting to my left, Robbie Allen. Robbie is the founder and CEO of the StatSheet Network, a collection of web properties that are giving sports fans interesting new ways to visualize sports stats. Robbie founded StatSheet in 2007. He's developed and launched 4 websites: statsheet.com, statplot.com, statfix.com, and stattweets.com. To Robbie's right, from the now 4-1 Phoenix Suns, actually my favorite sports franchise, so this is fun for me, Jeramie McPeek, Vice President Digital for the Suns. He's entering his 18th season. I'm probably one of the few people here who remembers what happened in his first season, which was 92-93, right?
That was a fun year, yep.
Fun year. Charles Barkley went to the finals.
Last time we went to the finals.
So Jeramie leads the organization's digital and social media efforts. Fun job. To his right, the one business person here, non-sports person, Don Brown.
Sports.
Don is currently the president and co-founder of Twitpay, which is dedicated to bringing e-commerce to Twitter. Twitpay enables users to send payments without registering for an account. Don previously worked at IBM, Earthlink, CompuCredit, and SafeNet. And our last panelist is David Eckoff, co-founder of Spitter, a real-time social news network for sports fans, and president of Revolutionary Ventures, a consulting company. David previously served as vice president, new product development and innovation at Turner Broadcasting. Also had stints at Real Networks, Rivals.com, and was the founder of Inside Carolina. Okay, so welcome, gentlemen. Glad to have you here. I'm going to start off with Robbie. Robbie is one of the most innovative minds in sports data and statistics, but he has an interesting claim to fame, which is that he got himself banned from Twitter. So how did you do that?
So in 2008, I was recognizing that Twitter was becoming an important place for people to get information of all kinds. And since I run a primarily focused site on stats, sports stats, I wanted to try and take advantage of that. And so because Twitter doesn't have the best filtering capabilities, I didn't want to blast a bunch of stuff through a single account. What made the most sense is if I created a bunch of accounts that represented all the teams that I covered. So over a weekend, my wife and I enlisted her help. We created 650 accounts in Twitter to represent all the NFL, NBA, college football, and college basketball teams. And essentially, I plugged in my data processing backend, which is fairly extensive, into the Twitter API. And then before you know it, I was tweeting standings updates, rankings, box scores, that kind of information to all of these accounts. Within 3 months, I gained 63,000 followers. And then about a month after that, Twitter suspended all the accounts. And that led to a fairly public dispute. TechCrunch picked it up about why should they suspend these accounts. They had reasons which I didn't necessarily agree with, such as I created too many accounts. They didn't like that I created so many accounts. That I was using team logos for some of the profiles, so maybe you have some opinion on that. And that I was squatting on the accounts. But the accounts they were referring to were the college football accounts. This was in April. And I don't know if many of you follow, say, Elon football, but there's not a lot of football news in the month of April, so it kind of made sense that there wasn't any updates recently. So anyway, that led to me just saying, you know what, forget it. I don't need to use Twitter for this. I'm going to create my own service because actually I wanted to start creating player accounts. And so they didn't like 650 accounts. They really wouldn't have liked the 3,000 I was about to create.
All right. So Jeramie, you got a basketball with you. What are we doing with that?
Well, I figure being that this is a Twitter panel and Shaquille O'Neal was sort of the first superstar athlete to really embrace Twitter, I brought an autographed, there it is, autographed Shaquille O'Neal ball, which I'm going to give out to someone in the crowd. Anybody that tweets, sends out a tweet with @PhoenixSuns in the tweet, doesn't have to be positive, it's not going to be a shameless plug, but sends out @PhoenixSuns in the tweet in the next 45 minutes has a chance to win, and I'll pick somebody before the conference is over.
Okay, everyone on this dais is excluded from that.
Yes.
So Jeramie, we know Twitter is cool, and there's a lot of buzz about it. From your standpoint at the Suns, how has it specifically been transformative? What, in terms of your business practices, or how has it really made a difference?
It's been huge. Really, almost every department in our company is using it in one way or another. Just to give you a few quick examples, We've had a couple tweet-ups at games where we've invited fans, and we've given fans on Twitter a discounted ticket offer to come and sit together in the stands and then come down to our practice court afterwards and hear from our general manager or head coach. Our public relations department uses it to reach out to media contacts and pitch story ideas. Our community relations department uses it to really talk about all the events that our players are doing out in the community that maybe don't get picked up in the newspaper or media. Let's see, our TV, just this season, we're now streaming live tweets at the bottom of our game broadcasts at a couple points during each game. In Arena, we're going to be displaying tweets on the big screen, so trying to make our games more interactive, both in Arena and on TV. We've been recruiting we recruited fans this year for a TV commercial. We had sort of a Twitter casting call and brought in about a dozen fans to come in and be a part of our advertising campaign this season. All in all, we have 6 players on Twitter, our head coach, and about 30 employees, again, from all parts of the organization, talking about what we do, kind of giving fans a behind-the-scenes peek into the organization and really kind of growing our fan base.
That's great. Don Brown from Twitpay. How does Twitpay work? What got you started with it?
So Twitpay had its genesis in actually a mistake. So I don't know how many of you remember when Twitter, most people still use Twitter over SMS. Most people use their phones, the clients now, but back in 2007, 2008, when it was new, everyone used it over SMS. And my business partner's wife actually tried to send him a D message, which was D space the username, and instead mistyped, and it was P space the username. And he looked at it for a second. He's like, that should actually be something. We should make that into a kind of like the @ message grew into a reply generically. We'll turn the P into a payments syntax. And so we actually didn't plan on doing anything with it. We took the idea to, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Startup Weekend concept, but we took it to Atlanta Startup Weekend, thinking it would be, we'd do the idea, it'd be a cool thing to implement, and we'd be done after the weekend. On, I think the Tuesday after Startup Weekend, CNN did an article on us, and then on the following Friday, New York Times picked it up. So we figured it was probably interesting enough to keep going with it for a little while. The interesting part of what we do is not necessarily the payments itself, it's the social value that is added by the payment. So for example, if I were to Twitpay David here $5, the visibility of that payment, everyone that follows both of us can see that I've just paid David, is interesting. So think of it more in terms of a Starbucks example. If I pay with Twitpay at a Starbucks and I buy my hazelnut latte, everyone sees that I've just bought a hazelnut latte. So every purchase becomes an authentic marketing mechanism and voice.
And are you actually transacting with dollars here?
Yeah, well, we have virtual currencies as well. We're mostly using real dollars right now. We're backed by PayPal. My business partner is actually presenting at the PayPal conference today. But we're backed by PayPal, so it is real dollars, but we do virtual currencies as well. Currently, we support coffee, beer, cookies, a sarcastic penny, and I think cupcakes was added recently. And those actually right now translate immediately to dollar values, but they can, the future is to actually turn them into branded products that you accumulate.
David Eckoff, I can't help myself. The name, Spitter.
The name Spitter.
Yeah.
So Spitter.com is social news for sports fans. And when we were just about to launch the company, we needed a name. Every product needs a name. And we were just brainstorming, classic brainstorming, word association. Somebody said sports. Another person, Peter Grubman, said Twitter. And then somebody just said sports, Twitter, and they said Spitter. And we all just kind of chuckled and laughed. We can't call the product Spitter. That's just silly. But it's easy to remember, easy to spell. We could get the domain, we could get the trademark, and it passed everything that we wanted. So no matter how silly the name is, you could look at a product like a name like Google, kind of a funny name. Yahoo, Flickr, they're all funny names. But it's easy to remember, easy to spell. We liked it.
In the Walt Disney Company, I think if I said I got an idea for a new site, Spitter, I just don't know how far I'd get. So